What's up everybody, this is Age and we are back with another Guild Wars 2 video. Now, sorry about the late video, stuff and things happened and my voice is kind of shot, so sorry about that in advance. But today's video is going to talk about the PvP Ascended Vending ecosystem that was put in place back in Season 5 and how it's broken now in Season 6. Now, in retrospect, I have to say it was a good system for the game overall, not just for PvP, and I'll explain why in a bit. First, I'll explain how the system worked in Season 5, how it is now in Season 6, and how Arena could fix it to be fairly good again. It's also important to note that when I say a group of players, for example, PvP players, I mean it in a general sense, not all players in that group. Okay, so in Season 5, the Ascended Vendor had a flat Ascended Shards of Glory fee for all the items it sells, weapons, armor, trinkets, and so on. And the reward chest at each tier for playing ranks rewarded a bunch of Ascended Shards of Glory. Once you finish Byzantium, which is the last chest, you couldn't repeat it, but you did get, among other rewards, 1,200 Ascended Shards of Glory in total, which you could use to get a full Ascended set of armor, weapons, what have you. PvP Ascended Vending provided PvP players a guaranteed way to access Ascended gear with any stats they want without leaving their mode to get it. This inadvertently incentivizes those players to try out other parts of the game that they may not normally go into. For example, a PvP player may be interested in raiding, but doesn't have the right gear for it. They could now buy most of it off the PvP Ascended Vendor. Now don't get me wrong, I don't think a ton of PvP players would go into other modes right away if all they want to do is PvP, but the incentive and the ability to do so is there. Now, for a lot of PvE and World vs. World players, ranked PvP was simply a way to get free Ascended armor for their game mode. But that was the carrot that got them into PvP. They might enjoy it and start playing more, or best bet was that these players play every season for access to more Ascended gear. This was the Ascended Vending ecosystem put in place, and it was quite an interesting feat as it does promote mainly PvP, but other modes as well. PvE and World vs. World players were going into PvP to get Ascended gear to use for their modes, and PvP players have guaranteed access to Ascended gear to use for other modes if they wish to try them out. Now, what changed in Season 6? Two main things. The first being Ascended Shards of Glory you got from reward chests got horribly gutted. When you reach Byzantium now, you got a total of 300 shards, which is significantly lower than last season. Byzantium is repeatable, but you need to complete it, and you have to repeat it at least 18 times to reach the amount of shards you got last season. The next thing is that Ascended Vending changes made Ascended armor and weapons harder to get. You now need gold, Ascended Shards of Glory, and most importantly, crafted Ascended tokens to get an Ascended weapon or armor piece. Now these tokens require 500 crafting in the proper crafting discipline in order to make it. So for example, if I want armor for my thief, which is a medium armor class, I need 500 leatherworking to make the token. If I want a pistol as well, I need 500 huntsmen to make that token. And these tokens are account bound. You cannot sell them, you cannot buy them. So what do these changes do? Well, for PvP players, not much has changed as they primarily play for PvP for the competitive aspect and rank prestige. I think they'll happily accept rewards along the way, but naturally some players are probably a bit upset that they do get less Ascended Shards of Glory. Now for the ecosystem, it means it's longer to get Ascended gear, which degrades the incentive and the ability to do other content in the game. There are less PvP players this season, but it's for other reasons that I'll cover in a future video. Now for a lot of PvE and World vs. World players who play for rewards, it's simply not worth the time investment. The tokens may or may not be one aspect that they like or dislike, but the amount of games needed to be played is way more in Season 6 in order to reach the same Ascended Shards of Glory value as in Season 5. Now these players can easily make their armor via other means, such as fractals, or might even go back to traditional crafting. Now, the changes to Ascended Vending and the nerf to Ascended Shards of Glory and reward chests caused a lot of PvE and World vs. World players to not participate this season. Now, this is in addition to the dip in PvP player attendance this season, but again, that I'll cover the reasons for that later on. There are other main reasons for that, but you see the effect this has on PvP with the ladder and queue times alone. So, what can ArenaNet do to make PvP viable on the rewards front? Now, I say at the very least, increase the Ascended Shards of Glory and the reward chest. The Ascended Vending changes I can understand to some extent, but the Ascended Shards of Glory change was a bit overkill. I don't think ArenaNet will change Ascended Vending pricing anytime soon, so this will be the next best thing. It doesn't have to be as good as it was, but it has to be better than it is now. The other idea would be to be able to sell the Ascended tokens that you can craft, much like other Ascended materials that you craft. There could be a decent market for them, so why not let people make some profit off it while giving people what they want if they want to pay for it. But there could be other reasons ArenaNet may not want to do that. They probably want to enforce crafting in some respect. So I laid out my thoughts. What about you? PvE and World vs. World players, do you play for the rewards? Would an increased gain in Ascended Shards of Glory make you play ranked again? And PvP players, are the rewards satisfactory? Does the Ascended Vending affect you? And would you like to see more PvP centric rewards like PvP earnable skins, maybe as an end of season reward, for example? Let me know in the comments. This has been Age. If you like this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. And for more Guild Wars 2 videos, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!